can be held into their natural organic alignment, and that can be reset, they'll still go through starburst at the end of it, but they will go right back in to their original alignment and hold their structural integrity, where the units that were reversed, let's say, or Metatronic, or things that could not hold a base 12 but D3 base 12, that's where the Trinity gates come in. They allow a down step enough where all it's needed is a base 12 but D3 frequency. If they can hold that much, they can be reset when the shield shattered happens. So the structural integrity will hold, but it will create two different time waves. One wave where you have the reset and the recreation occurring after the shield shatter, and the other, the units of each shield, each dimensional level that can't attach to the Polarian matrix, will go into their own spin, actually. They'll go into a different spin within the Akasha pillar, and they will go into what's called compaction. They will form progressively compacting crystals. Now, they will retain their structure too, at least for a while. They'll retain their structure at least, I think, until 2012, when we get those three pillars coming in, and then some really interesting fireworks are going to happen. But its timing is what's key with any of these activations, particularly this one, because if 13 didn't catch, none of them would go. You couldn't do any of the others. And they probably didn't want to get us worried, about that. So they said, oh, by the way, when you go to India, there's a little something we'd like you to do, if you wouldn't mind. What? Anchor pillar 13 starburst. Oh, okay. So you'll... Well, it's kind of funny. I'm sharing with you what I can remember of what has been thrown at me, basically, because it's been, you've seen how it's coming. It's coming in like, there it is, and then all of a sudden, nothing. Hello, where'd you go? Anybody out there? Like, can I have the next sentence? Can I have the next half of that sentence? You just stopped. If the grids are doing weird things. So transmissions will get cut off right in the middle, and then we'll come back for 2 days. So they're having a difficult time getting the information in. It's bad enough that it's information that these grids aren't really designed to hold in the first place, but you have the UIR throwing stuff around in the grids. So it's been a really interesting process. So if I can't remember sequentially all of it, and if you can, you'll see, once you see it, you'll see why. Oh yeah, I can see why I couldn't remember that first time through. But you will have it on paper, so you see there are specific stages. Day 13 is the final of the crystal body that goes with that dimensional level, and that is also the time of reset. So all the work that has to be done for it's called re-encryption, where you use what's called the Rama code, which is the original Christ code that was used in the original creation crystals that this whole matrix was created from the Akasha level down. If they can be reset into the grids in preparation for when that final crystal body boom goes, the units will reset right along on that. It'll be literally a recreation of the first creation of this system, and that will allow a progressive rebuilding. See, the planetary crystal body and the Vecca crystal body it's basically going down. It's going into compaction, and the original monad, universal monad, is going into reversal. Now, usually that would be the death of a system, all right? It might even be a death that took a while, where it would all go into a slow reverse spin until it eventually compacted and then blew up and went back to space dust and went black hole status. It's also the potential rebirth point, and that is what's happening. As the old crystal body is dismantling, and it will dismantle one dimensional level at a time through this process, the new one is being recreated one dimensional level at a time. So by 2012, when we get the last three pillars in, the whole thing will be able to come online, where all of those radon tubes and things will be able to activate, and it will literally be a new Earth in terms of the crystal body structure, which is its etheric blueprint and its catheric blueprint. They will be a renewed structure, and they will hold the form of the original, which means it's like an instant karma purge, because they won't hold within them anymore the forms of the distortions that have progressively been taking this system down. There will be another set that are going into Metatronic status that will hold all of the reversals. I still have that question, and it's like I'm infamous for this question up there now, but what's it going to look like in 3D, especially in 2012? I thought that question had one level of want to know behind it before. Now, that is huge, because there's something really fascinating that we'll give you the technicals on as well. After we get through, we'll get through this Pillar 13 thing, I'm sure, with no problem, and maybe not even too much feeling anything, I don't know. But by the time we get to Pillars 10, 11, and 12, doing their thing together in 2012, then normally we would have, remember we were making this counterclockwise movement, that we were rotating in the Eka. Right, our Veka was rotating in the Eka on a natural counterclockwise swing, and we were going to go up to a certain point by 2012, and that's where Bridge Zone was going to be, and we were going to hang out there. Well, there's something called the starburst plus 90 shift. Well, after that, plus 90, 90 more. And then there's something that has to do with a flip and a going through the Rama passage. The Rama passage, in simple terms, is a set of very intricate gate systems that are running through the primal light fields. They're not in the density fields, but under certain conditions you can bring density forms buffered through them. They go to the parallel Eka. We're going to be doing this Veka, what can be salvaged of this Veka, is going to be taken into the parallel system back to the original creation point and the time bands that were the original creation bands from which this Eka emerged. So there is a period in time, and it'll be far in our future and far in our past, all at the same time, that's over on the Adane side, that at the point in their timelines where the Buddhara thing went wrong and the Buddhara fell, which was really the beginning of our misery over here, was that happened in their matrix there. There was a point in time where there was a probability that didn't happen. Now, probabilities, the way we use the word here, is like, well, it's probable it might happen, or could have happened, or there's a chance that this had happened, but if it went this way, that means it didn't go that way. That's not how time works in reality. That's not what we might see in a linear format. But probabilities, all probabilities are actually expressed. What ones you see depend on what you align yourself with vibrationally. There is a probability line and a whole evolution line from a point in time of the Adane matrix when the Buddhara fall did not happen. In that line, none of the falls here happened. This place was a healing, it wasn't even a healing thing, it was something else. It was still here because this Veka was created with their parallel Eka-Veka system. But it's a whole timeline that is innocent of the history and the karmic mess and the pain and the suffering that has taken place here. It's one that doesn't have black holes in it, which is very nice. It sounds like a nice place to be. In some very, very sophisticated time dynamics that I'm hoping I can translate clear enough and verbalize clear enough that it makes a bit of sense, we are doing a probability jump because it is the only way to get this Veka system and the Eka system, whatever can be salvaged from the Eka system, out of the fall, where it can move through the starburst, hold its integrity, then it has to get put someplace. All right, because the whole form of the shield over here is it's either going. There's not enough left for it to hold and be a whole Eka-Veka system on its own. It needs to be reconnected to a probability timeline that it's co-resonant with, which means it has to have similar enough vibration, minus the fall, minus the black holes, which is going to be an interesting match. But there is a time band over in their side that would put us back to the beginning cycle of a parallel, what would be in their parallel Veka, and this has to do with the natural mechanics of how our time spiral unfolds this way and theirs unfolds almost like the underside of it, like in reverse, but it's not reversed. It's like if you take a Merkaba, you look at it this way, it's spinning this way, but if you look at it from here, it's spinning the opposite way. It's kind of like that. We've been given some bits on showing where parallel Eka is, how it's connected to our Eka-Veka maps, so we have a clue as to where is this place, where are we going now? Because it's like just when you think it is as wacky as it can get, it gets even wackier. It's going to get interesting. There's a lot of things. I'm not going to try to be technical tonight, but we will have those for them before we leave, right? Yeah. Yeah, this is what I wanted you to have before you left, because it gives you an idea, and this is all I have as far as what I know we're teaching too. It is an itinerary. It has, I put on the things that you probably have from Darlene's itinerary that shows you where we're going at what times and things. And if, just in case I did a typo on times as far as any of the stuff she has on the itinerary she gave you one, I believe, right, Dar did? Pay attention to hers, all right, because she knows where bodies are moving at what time. But it was just to try to keep it on the same page for you, so you didn't have to keep looking back and forth. But it gives you the basic names of the workshops, you know, when they're going to be held, what type of thing is going to be covered in them. By reading what type of thing is going to be covered in them, you will at least see a progression of information that goes through, problem, history of problem, solution. Okay, here's what we're doing. So there's a lot of information to cover. This is information that's going to be given as we go along, and I just love those workshops. What we're trying to do, and that's why the workshop time is short, because the production time is going to be long. We're going to be in transmission most of the time, but it's much better to be in transmission most of the time and actually show up for 3 hours and be with you and share that information than have you, waiting around for 6 hours to get to a workshop that lasts 3 hours only because everybody's so tired they can't stay for 6 hours. So we're trying to do a new format, because they've told us with the grid workshops that are going to be there's going to be like one or two travel trips a year besides Phoenix?
One major one.
Okay, yeah. There will be one major grid work thing. Yeah, there'll be small team things, yeah. But there's going to be one, like you have, the big trips, like, the India trip or the Greece trip, those kind of trips. There will be one of those a year, and one only. And there will be 2 set Phoenix ones. The Phoenix ones will be the concentrations of new data and like the K2, 3, 4, 10, whatever we go up to. Just call it the K manual. Crazy, no. We will get more of the technicals, we'll have more of the graph work, that kind of intensive stuff. Where when we do the site work ones, we're going to be focusing on, we have to get the information from the grids, a lot of it. A lot of this stuff is stored in the grids and we have to translate it, and these grids have to activate before they can bring down the information from the codicils of the plates. So it's one of those where you have to accommodate that. We have to accommodate that, or we'll drive ourselves crazy and drive you guys crazy. And what's important on these, which will be considered the master's grid work things, people that just want to do Kethara, don't come to these, because these, you learn to expect a certain thing with these. And these, hopefully we can learn to expect to, sleep at night, which is what we're trying to, where it's not crazy like it was getting. Because it was getting worse and worse. The more and more information's coming. It's like there's only 24 hours in a day. I can't translate all this fast. So what we'll do is you'll get the most important information that we can get down during that time for the grid work that's involved. That will be amplified and embellished during probably the next workshop in Phoenix that will hold, all right, this is the big data we learned about what to do with your body next, that kind of stuff. So it's going to focus on the personal development and, using your personal crystal body more so in Phoenix. It will also cover sometimes grid work when that's important and when that, it's necessary. But these will be very much grid work oriented. What's most important is that you feel good and you're in good shape to go and stand on a grid. Because if your fields are weak and you're tired and you're dragging, or we're dragging, and if we let ourselves get dragging, it actually jeopardizes you guys, because we're helping to hold a protection field that the beloveds are sending down for the whole group shield. So we've got to balance these in a way where you might have shorter workshop time, because what's most important about these trips is the grid work itself. And sometimes the grid work is as easy as what we did today. Just show up. Because right now we're going on auto DNA activation, where we have the people that are drawn to these workshops will have codes that go specifically with the grids that are being activated. That's why they got the urge to come in the first place. What's going to be really funny is some of them have already gone over the other side, and not in this group, but in some of the other ones that will come. But it doesn't change the fact that once the gift was given, it was given. They still have the code, so they can still come too. So it's and it doesn't matter at this point. Your frequency will align you with whatever you're aligned with. If you're working with frequencies to pick up the Polarian host, you will. This whole planet and this whole Veka and the Eka are getting hosted out through the Polarian gates. And that's good, because it gives an opportunity for a lot of us that wouldn't otherwise be able to make that connection. But we're going to have, there's a little bit different workshop pacing that we're going to try to do, more civilized, where it's focused on grid work. Sometimes we'll have spontaneous things happen. Like today we ended up doing, like whoever was just in that area, we ended up doing this circle thing in singing the Maharata song and stuff in the mosque area, which we weren't planning. Because in a lot of places, particularly when you're dealing with mosques and things like that, you go simply with respect. Just show up and be peaceful, and do even in Rome, do as the Romans do. Just let people be, and go with an attitude of non-judgment. It doesn't matter if they're the pits of hell that you walk into. It doesn't matter if they're awful grids, if you can't stand whatever the particular religion that they might be a part of stands for. Go in with non-judgment. The judgment will only serve to weaken your fields and to line you up for attack. But if you go in respectful, you have, whoever you are, whatever collectives you're attached to, you have a right to be and express who you are. And it is not my right to tell you you don't have that right. Now, they might not give you the same, but if you don't antagonize them, they probably won't antagonize you most of the time. So if you want to be able to go into sites and to go onto grids that are very possibly or feel like enemy territory as far as, oh, can't stand that frequency, you will be safe if you carry yourself with dignity and grace, Christic dignity and grace, which is a state of non-judgment and allowance. That doesn't mean you have to agree, and it doesn't mean you have to leave your fields open so anything can harm you. But it does mean that it's like the quick wake-up call. Remember, ages ago, we all had to go to those schools that taught us basic council protocols and how to behave yourself when you're going into somebody else's living room and how to be nice. And even if you don't agree, there's certain things that, if you would like, how you would like people to treat you, you're expected to treat other people even if they don't treat you that way, that kind of thing. We all went through these classes many times, very often. And it's time now. And some people haven't. There are many people on the planet that, and they're the ones that you could really pull your hair out, because they can be just so rude, so spiritually invasive, and don't even realize they're doing it because they really didn't learn yet that there's a whole level of holding yourself with spiritual grace and not violating the spiritual rights of others that can really cross boundaries. Oh, but I'm serving God. Yes, that's why I'm not going to let you do this. Wait a minute. What about allowance? My God doesn't allow allowance. You'll get a lot of this. You will. You'll get a lot of this. My God's going to send me to hell if I don't bow down on my knees. You know what I mean? There are people that are still very much in the soul groups that are playing those mind games. And fortunately, if you come this far and even pay attention to anything of the things we've taught, you outgrew that a long time ago. You might have gone through it to find out what it was like, so you could understand how to help the others. But the fact that you're here implies somewhere you had the training. As far as it's kind of like if you worked for the UN. There's a certain way that you would need to hold yourself as a respectable representative. If you're going into someone else's country. You might not even agree with their politics or whatever, but there's a way to be a diplomat, and we all had diplomatic training. This is time to pull it out and polish it up a little and say, I trust myself to handle that. Just know that it's needed. And when you go into grids and things like that, even if you don't like the place, you can go in and realize you will be safe. The attack level's funny, because right now we're really annoying the Chantarelle Budhara. Annoying them to the point where they're not quite sure what angle to bug us with next. Little things are happening that we're not sure yet are connected, like files disappearing. Go to sleep and you're tired, and you're so tired you forget to do your dial-up code. Or you get halfway through it and you fall asleep, right? And then you find yourself in really bizarre dreamscapes with really icky stuff happening. They're like masters. They call them the dream stealers, because there's some way, and I'm not sure what it is. I didn't get the technicals because that's another book probably, but they interface with a certain point where you're trying to project out, like, through the astral body and out into higher levels of consciousness when you go to sleep, and they interface somehow, and they take you on a detour and trap you in scenarios, and they'll use imagery from your own mind or your own database and freak you out with it. And if you realize they do this and realize it's a game, one thing that does work, if you start to sing the Maharata song, it usually will blow you right awake. Sometimes sitting up, singing it. Right? Maharata, oh, I'm back. If you see weird things like, we had ghost mosquitoes about this big flying around the bedroom the one night. where I managed to get myself out. It was I saw a little tiny bug, and I realized I was in a dream state with Chanterelle trying to mess. I go, oh, go away, you guys. So I did the Maharata song. It brought me back. But what's interesting is I was wide awake, sitting up, and my eyes were open, and I was seeing them physically. So the things were still in the room, and they really were. They're not just dealing with the astral level. They are dealing with the D3, 2, and 1 levels as well. But there were these horrid mosquito things that looked like ghost mosquitoes, but very big ghost mosquitoes that were like biting our etheric bodies. And I realized something. So, oh, they're trying to get us in trouble in India. They were putting signals in that would act as receivers to other things in the bug kingdoms here to have them bite us, probably trying to give us malaria or something, because they know, I mean, it's like, will you stop? So there's harassment, you could say, going on as far as the Chanterelle. But going after us isn't going to do anything. We're not the ones making Starburst happen. They made it happen. And they're not going to have anything positive happen to them if we weren't here to help stabilize it, because it would just come through harder and faster. And they're not immune either. In fact, they'll fry faster if there's nobody here to stabilize these frequencies. So it's almost like the feeling I get. We haven't gotten any official edict as far as like, they're going after the indigos again. It's more like they're sitting there scratching their heads going, I'd like to whack them, but we can't. We don't know what to do with them right now. So there may come a time when there is harassment there. The fact that we are opening the Rama gates is not popular with them, because it will ensure that part of these grids are salvaged all the way up, and they don't want that to happen. They want to take all of these grids down into the black hole systems, because what they really want to do is they want to take down the parallel Eka as well. If they can get this one, they can take out the Adani over there, and then they can use both matrices to do the same thing over in the parallel Eka. So it's become a big problem, to the point where a Christic stand is needed, and on all sides. But you don't really, it's like almost like a downtime where it's like, don't let your guard down too much. Still it's worth doing your dial-up code and, doing your lotus breathing and keeping your pillar going up and down to keep your frequency amped. But it's not a time to like duck, they're really coming after the indigo shield. That may change. I mean, it changed after Belize. They got really upset with us when we did the Belize trip, because it worked. And, it started where that was beginning the process where the Polarian matrix could open. And because of that, they knew that they were going to lose a lot of grids if we were successful in that, and they were not happy, and they were taking shots wherever they could. But it's kind of low time, low tide on UIR harassment. But just be aware that they never totally ignore us. So, but you don't have to be afraid. When you're here in India, what's really amazing is there is a frequency of protection that are running in these grids that I've never felt anywhere before in any of the places I've ever been. The closest I felt was inner Earth that felt to the grids. That doesn't mean that, bless you, right? It doesn't mean that all the people, are particularly going to be fond of you, or all that you're going to resonate with the temples or anything like that. But the land itself is connected in a way that is very special. That's because of the Rama Passage Network. We're going to learn more about where is this exactly in our grids. Oh no, more locations to map. There's more locations basically. But these are very special. And what this is going to come down to is after we get through the technicals enough to understand what we're moving through with the starbursts and how you manage red pulse and those kind of things, without having your heart skip a beat. There's a very special. I think there might even be an announcement at the end by them of something called the Return of the Honest. And I do believe we're going to be getting company. Not quite yet, but we are opening the gates that were opened only partially, and we're opening them all the way this time. They were opened during the Inner Earth Rebellion, when the Inner Earth races came up physically and defended surface Earth, so the Anu didn't get it that time. And that was 75,000 BC, I believe that was. It was briefly mentioned in the Voyagers books. They are going to do that again if it gets to that point. And there's something that they're going to let us know. At the end of this, you'll see how they word it. They said, and I don't know what it means yet either, but I could get a feel on it. So there's some interesting data that's going to come through with this for the end workshop. Let me see how they word it. Oh, official denial, unofficial disclosure, and the ET game. And then they also have opening the doorways of time and the contemporary return of the Janus. So it looks like there's some kind of game on as far as the UIR playing with the official disclosure thing. There's also something strange happening in India where there are articles published in the paper about the government having a dilemma because they're usually honest with the people about what's going on, and they've been asked to start covering up UFO things here because they're becoming much more active and they're having like military escorts and those kind of things, and they're being asked to cover it up to their own people, and that's not how they usually operate here. So they're like in a dilemma. The other countries are asked that are doing the cover-ups are asking them to also toe the line and cover up. So I don't know where that's going to go, but I wouldn't doubt it if we see something at some point. I keep asking, oh, come on, give us some confirmation or something. Just a little flyby, you know? But I imagine at some point we probably will. They already explained something about when we begin working with the frequencies that were given in some of the things we did in the grid work for opening the Polarian gates over the Christmas holidays and the Festival of Light holidays, that as your own inner Polarian matrix, because we have those in our, just if you're born here and it's in the planetary grids, you get a copy of it in your DNA template. So as the Polarian grids are activating and you work with the technologies, you can activate your own quicker. Now, there's a thing about the pulsing of Polaris, which is the North Star. There's a pulsing rhythm that some people will start to see as their matrix activates, as the Polarian matrix activates, where you can have one person who isn't activating Polarian matrix stand there and look at it and it'll just look like a star. And the other one that's activating will see almost like a Morse code coming off it and start receiving the frequencies. I believe there's something like this is going to happen with the sun as well, but not yet. So there's a lot of interesting things coming, and I think we actually may get to, there would be, I don't know, for me anyway, there would be a sublime satisfaction in being able to say, see, it's really there, see? Just because there's, it's like even when you know, to be able to share that knowing, where you can all just go, wow, yeah, cool. Or like, shake their hand when they come down and say hi. That would be really, really lovely. I'd really love to see how we'd all react. A lot of us would be just in shock or jaws on the floor. What if it like a 12-foot-something blue person just poofed into the room in physical form and started to shake, reached out to shake your hand? Whoa, Santa Claus is here. Right? Santa Claus is real. It'd be like that. Like, yeah. That's what it's going to be like, I think, for a lot of us. That innocence that once you found out Santa Claus or whatever wasn't really real, it was like total betrayal. If you've been lied to about Santa Claus, totally betrayal. I'll never trust you again, Mom. How could you? Right? But it would be kind of like that, where you find out Santa was real after all. That innocent, that joy, that I believe in Christmas, that all the good things it's supposed to represent kind of thing. And I hope we get to share an event like that together at some point. But I do know the most important thing is getting us through Starburst, starting with Pillar 13. So we have a lot to learn together in this. We're going to have crash course small workshops. We're going to be very busy taking all this data down. I can hardly wait. It's like at least we got to sleep the week before we came. So it was preparing us. I should have known it was preparing us. There was one that we had 3 weeks before that we hardly got any sleep. We were doing like 2 hours sleep a night, if that, on the floor in the sitting room, and then getting back up and working again. And then we had to go into the workshop. I think, what was that? Was that England? Yes. Yeah, that's why I didn't even realize that I went to Land's End. When we were in the England workshop, I really didn't. I had no memory of being there. And I asked him, I said, oh, did we forget to do Land's End? He said, no, we did Land's End. I said, where was I? Asleep in the car. But usually I remember when I went to sleep or when I woke up. I don't remember how I got back to the hotel. I was gone, because of the exhaustion. This time we didn't have that. This time there was nothing incoming. Nothing incoming. Still nothing incoming. Hello, are you out there? Yes, we're out there. It'll come when it comes. Okay, great. Great. We're leaving tomorrow. Is there anything out there yet? It will come when it comes. So it's been like this. Now it's coming. And it will come. I have a feeling each day we'll get the piece, for the next day. It's on some kind of security clearance. But it might be more grid issues as far as when they can get the angles right to get the information through in a coherent form. But we're on an exciting journey here. I was a little worried when I started when it gave that first, the thing that Az read to you. I said, oh my God, do I have to teach this? I want to teach this. I don't want to tell people about this stuff. It could be too scary. I'm not scared. At this point, I don't think anything could scare me. So, whatever. Worst case scenario, I go back as space dust. Whatever. I would prefer not to. I would prefer to keep my eternal life thing and keep that going forever and ever. But if I went back as space dust, at least if I did it proudly standing in my Christos, I don't care anymore. There would be a peace, whether you're going up or down, just like the Adonai have taught the Adani, and the Adani embraced, where they know they're fallen, they know eventually they'll go back as space dust, and they just enjoy their life, and they love the Christic teachings and the Christic stand, and they just embody it to the greatest degree they can. That's the way to do it if you're going to go. Anyway, we're planning to go the other direction. Up, the wave of ascent. So, are these back yet?
Holden, you got the copies back now?
Yeah? Okay. So, I will stop chattering out of sequence. Let me just make sure I hit on the basic stuff I want to talk about. Catharsis 3, Pill Power, 25, and da. Oh, that's a riot. And the 26th is... Oh, that's a riot. And that's Starburst Day 6. Yeah. Yep, that's when we bring the Akashic records back in. Yeah. That's wonderful. I love how divine timing works out. It's really so funny sometimes. It's really precious. Let's see, I just want to make sure that there's nothing I needed to talk about here. See, these things are not necessarily in sequence. When you get this and you see like subjects that are going to be somewhere in that workshop, they're not necessarily in that sequence, but they will be, touched on, or, some of them broader than others because I don't know where they're going with them, but there's some of the things. Security release seals, rama, talked about that. Just showing up, talked about that. Okay. I just want to reemphasize the one thing about the just showing up stuff as far as the grids. If you're doing just a bit of your lotus breathing and doing, your pillar on occasion and those kind of things, it's good to do it right before you do any site work too. And the dial-up code, I don't go to sleep without it. I really don't, because the chanterelle just terrorized me. It's like they wait and go, she forget? She forget? They can't hurt me, but they can drive me bananas in the dream state. They can give you nightmares. Where you wake up and go, oh, geez, I should know better than that, to let myself get ensnared in that kind of thing. So it's good too, before we go, we really should do, even on our own, because there's not going to be time for a lot of these where we get together in a space where we don't make a spectacle out of ourselves doing the dial-up code or something. But if we do the dial-up code before you come down to get on buses or whatever, that would be fine. And just showing up and letting your DNA do its thing, and see if you can feel it. See if you can feel a bit of that taking place. There will also be, for each bit of frequency that's given on whatever set of codes you had, and I think they're going to give a little thing, and there's symbols that go with each type of code, that I had a really brief clip that one of the techniques they're going to do is to help you understand, like identify yourself, which type of the key code you might have. There's symbols, and like there's going to be just what one do you feel you resonate with, without knowing which one goes with what, right? And that will give you a clue as to the type, that you're carrying. But I think they're going to do that. That's more of a fun to do, but they're gonna work whether or not you even knew they were there, kind of thing. But a little thing like that. So just so you know, when we do go on the sites, even if the sites aren't great, they're not something exciting to see. Some will be beautiful. The Taj Mahal is quite an impressive structure. But it's the grids. It's the song that's going to take place between your body and the planet. And you may get personal stuff. I get a feel. Yeah, okay. I had a feeling there were pickups here. There have been workshops we've gone on where we were told that like techniques like vortex vending where you go and pick up certain things that you left for yourself at different lifetimes. There's going to be an auto-vortispending thing happening. There are things that everybody that has these key codes, it meant that you lived here once, by the way, at least once, starting in seeding 1. Because it was in this land mass, wherever it was, and wherever it was, stuck at that point in time, because it was not exactly in the same place. But the people that were physical, that were on this continent, that were given those keys, there are part of our own personal Akushate network, which is what connects to our Akusha crystal. The Akusha crystal, that memory crystal, is in the Akasha level base shield. All right, and it connects down through the crystal body anatomy, but it connects down through a network of crystals, and I believe there's 144 of the smaller ones. God knows where they are. I mean, they're in our anatomy someplace. I'm sure they'll let us know, probably in K4 or something, where these fit. One more piece of anatomy to incorporate. But these hold literal data banks of our incarnations going all the way back to, I don't know when, at least seeding 1. These may go all the way over to the... So for some, they'll go out, the ones that are on planet here will go all the way over to the parallel Eka matrix over there, over to Eartha, U-R-T-H-A, right, the original form of Earth. Others will have come in from other points, so they won't necessarily have that crossover. They might have come down from the Ioni chain directly as opposed to over and down. So, but you're going to be picking up crystals, basically, and you may even see them at some point. They said you may, if you go to a site, and you see a crystal type shaped thing, and they can be different shapes, like sprouting out of the ground or sticking out of a wall over there, hanging up in the air. If you're seeing it, you're meant to, and it just means it belongs to you, and just kind of like go walk by it and see if it sticks, and then like put an Akasha bubble around it and make sure you want it to stick, and then bring it in. Don't just let it stick to you, because they can always use that. So anyway, that's a little bit that they just that's falling down right now. I basically touched on the things that they said that they wanted to talk about. The most important thing from our gathering tonight was the information that Az shared with you from Aodi, and because that was directly from them. And Aodi is interesting. He's different than Ma'a, and they get along very well. Ma'a steps down a lot of Aodi's things, steps it over into our languages over here, because they're Sha-based languages over there, and they're Ra-based over here. But there's a very distinct difference in their personalities, which is it's interesting to notice. So the feel that you got from that letter, that was one that calls himself Aodi, and that's just that's the first letter of the 3 parts of his name. That the name is like huge, and I was trying to pronounce it. White, a what? He said, just call me AOD. So it's an anagram. Is that what that is? An anagram? Yeah. So AOD is an anagram for a very long, probably beautifully sounding, if you could pronounce it, name of the one called Aodi from Adane Council. And there are a bunch of others probably with names like that, so we may get lots of anagram names when we're dealing with them. So I'm probably way over time now, probably. Yeah, okay, 9:30? Okay, yep, a bit over, that's all right. Well, nobody kicked us out of the room, so. All right, I will let you go so you can get dinner tonight, because I don't know what time they stop dinner, but it's a good time to just say, you can look at these when they're not handed out yet, right? Are they? No? They can pick them up on the way out, or just so they all get one, whatever's easiest. Great, thank you. So you can get these, you can look through them. It gives you an idea of some of the subjects. And if you're going to go, what's that? I'm doing it too. It's like, we got Rama rods, we got Rama passages, we got Rama codes, we got all sorts of things. We got Akushas and Akushates and really new words. And we'll learn what these are and why they're important. And I just hope we have a wonderful time together, and that I know we're on a very, very meaningful mission. And it's very nice because I don't feel any fear with you. And that is good, and that is the appropriate response. Because fear just gets in your way, and it stops you from realizing you have the power to do exactly what you need to do. And it's exciting to work with you all again. And it's kind of exciting to be on a Code Red drama, actually. Yeah, I only had one of those. Hopefully I do better this time. Hopefully I do better this time. He's been through, you know why they've got Az here. He's been through a number of these, still standing, right? You didn't have to crawl back up from Mineral Kingdom. Right? I
was gonna
did.
talk. Look, faced with the choice of being blown away or flying away, like, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, you flew away. I know. Yeah, you cleared out. I sat there and watched it come.
Blown away or fly away?
I did kind of went, oh,
Yeah.
that's that silent sound wave that you can hear but not hear that they talked about. Gone.
Yeah. I was, because it's going to be late, I was going to give you 10 minutes on what is preschool about what we could call my contract and my relationship to what Ash is talking about. But we'll find 5 or 10 minutes to talk. There's a couple of things I just want to introduce you to that I'm confident enough about to be able to say at some point in the future, not tomorrow, not this year, not this year, but the things that I can see that are going to be forthcoming from when Speaker 2 finally gets the stuff out of his eyes, will, for instance, bring us to a point where we would be able to say where a group of us need to be, a very specific coordinate on surface, with instructions to draw specific frequency combinations in the moment and create a symbol code, mathematical, geometrical program right there, right then, for a particular purpose. They're the kind of tools that I know that we can look forward to having, and this is just the surface of what I've been able to understand so far of what we're going to have to work with. So please, when we say you are powerful and let's believe it, let's go for it, just know there's some real tasty additional stuff coming, and I only know a fraction, not even a grain of sand that would be equivalent to what I've been able to discover. So there are some very powerful, it's going to be at least a year before we start presenting that stuff, but it's starting to come through.
You start presenting that stuff. It's math. I hate math.
The reason why I've been through a number of these successfully is because I favor we rather than I.
I know, but this sweetheart, you could have all of your own self, because I'm going to sit in the audience and listen with that same look that I get a lot of times. What's she talking about? Yeah, some of it. So, I do, very much. In fact, that's the first look. Usually the look I get when I'm completely losing people, I can usually find you again somewhere in there, and it's like, you get found enough where it's like, okay, it makes enough sense, I guess. But I have that same look on my face when they first give it to me. I kind of,
What?
yeah, sure. Okay. Wait, what was it again? 2 seconds later, hold on, don't go any further. Could we go back 3? What was that again? I forgot. I can't picture it. Yeah, so I do this when the information's coming through on the plates. It's really funny, because I do know, just like with you, you have a part of you that you know all this stuff already. All right? It's common knowledge. It's like ABCs. It's simple. You could teach it with no problem. But when you get here, it's like lights out, shades down, right? And it's like we're all back in kindergarten again. And it's really funny, because I can feel the part of myself that knows all this, but it doesn't stop this part going, what was that? I know I understand this, but not here right now. So anyway, there is that part of yourself. It can help you, where you can understand a lot through direct cognition, as opposed to trying to put words on it or even pictures. Sometimes pictures work better than words, by the way. They'll carry more information. That's why we get picture books first, without the words. Okay, yes, I'm going to let you go now so you can have dinner. And when is it we're seeing each other again? Tomorrow? Yes, for site work tomorrow, right? No? Tomorrow's the 20... Yeah, I'm working tomorrow morning.
Therapy.
Retail therapy, yeah.
Workshop 1.
Okay, where am I?
We were mistaken in thinking we weren't shopping tomorrow. We are, 2:30 to 5:30 tomorrow.
Okay, yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, tomorrow's the 23rd, right?
Yeah.
I get totally dyslexic with dates when I'm in transmission mode. It's really bad. I won't even know what day it is of the week, because my daughter will go, I'll say, you have to make sure you're in bed by 10, school tomorrow. She goes, Mom, it's Saturday, Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay, so you guys get to go shopping, and I get to put together Workshop 1 transmission. Oh, boy. Workshop 2 scares me. It's time mechanics. This gets into spins of things and those 6 cycles of expansion and contraction and things. Yeah. But only what we need to know to understand what we're dealing with as far as Starburst 13. Let's take one at a time. So... Bye.
She's talking about time cycles, right? There's something I was going to share with you about this grid stuff, but I'll just give you this bit. There is one way of sort of transposing much of what Ash has been talking about in terms of what is red pulse. Right, it's a massive frequency infusion, okay? Causes a change in the nature and condition of matter, doesn't it? All right. Think about a nuclear bomb. It does the same thing. Okay? You have tons of matter in a particular location at a particular time. A nuclear bomb is detonated, which has a direct relationship with the sun's relationship with that coordinate and the bomb. In other words, you can't drop a bomb any old place. But the matter that was once there becomes antimatter a split second later. It's just changed its space-time location. We are going to change our time-space location by working with energy that far exceeds the energy of a nuclear bomb. Are we scared?
Hopefully it won't be. Oh, that was a comforting thought. That was a lovely visual to leave them with for the evening.
So serious, you know. I mean, anyway, that was serious until the last sentence.
Yeah, a controlled nuclear bomb.
Excuse me.
I like to think of it as in terms of the red wave, which would be a controlled red pulse that's handled through the starburst process, as opposed to a red pulse that goes bleh and throws the solar Merkaba all over your planet.
Yeah, like imagine that we're a building, right? Right. To knock the building down, you've got random, chaotic relationship between the force and the thing. But we're builders of buildings, right? And we have to pick up a brick precisely in a position precisely, the appropriate angle in an appropriate way, with the correct sort of frequency of motion, so to speak, right? So our work is very precise, very deliberate in the way of construction. Whereas those who would prefer to have things be different are just taking a blunderbuss, you know, this bloody big thing and just banging it and banging it and banging it until it falls down. You know, these principal authors have got these little analogies and help you understand what it feels to perceive it. Because you can perceive it in those simple ways. It actually strips any of the kind of emotional charge or any of the fear from it. You just go, oh, okay.
Can we rebuild it better?
Well, that's what we're going to do. So
Yeah.
We're going to create a crystal body for the Earth.
This is what re-encryption is about, and that's the first thing we'll be engaged in doing, is re-encryption. That has to do with the Akasha crystals and getting the original creation imprint back in. So when the little Big Bang happens, it has the pattern to instantly reset and go into it, literally a recreation of the first creation that was the first imprint. So we'll be doing that. They wanted me to point out one more thing, just to mention something interesting to think about, is we've talked briefly about the frequency scales and how D1 light is actually D2 sound. A red pulse is in the D1 light spectrum, red spectrum. So it means it's D2 sound, infrasound. So what we're talking about are D2, which means the elemental kingdom levels get hit on each of the pillars to some degree, the subharmonics, but it is a D2 infrasound experience that is the translation of a D1 light pulse. Because D2 light is D3 sound. You know, there's a whole correspondence in the thing. So I just wanted to point that out to you, so you realize we're dealing more in 3D terms. We're actually dealing more with a sound pulse than we are with a light pulse. And yeah, they wanted me to mention that to you. Probably give you something to think about with any of them. Yeah, any of them, because all of them have a red pulse point. That's when that Kalem crystal at the center of the Becker shield shatters, and it goes in through these phases where it does, I think it does a red spark, then a red cloud, and then that ignites and turns into the red pulse and that kind of thing. So the red is always the D1 frequency spectrum on the subharmonics for each of the pillars. So that means it will be translating through the D2 sound spectra for each of the pillars. I have to see exactly, all right, exactly what does that mean now as far as, are we going to see anything on the D2 level for each pillar, perhaps, if it's going to come through somewhere. I don't know the answer to that, but I do know. I'm wondering if we're going to see some things, or at least maybe hear sing. Yeah. You know, we weren't given any physical codes except the monadic code that we've been using. We haven't been given any new drawing codes. And I'm wondering if we're going to get some new sounds or a song or something, since we're dealing with sound. I get a feeling we might. That's why we weren't given any new codes. Yeah. No, there was nothing there at all. No codes at all to draw. There's hardly any diagrams right now. I have a feeling it's going to change between now and tomorrow. But it's going to be a long night. Anyway, have a good evening, and thank you for joining us. This is such a special place. The consciousness here, it still holds a lot of the truth. There are books here called the Mahabharata texts that have the pictures of the spaceships that used to come in. I mean, they know here. And some of the ancient books, including, I believe, I wouldn't say the Gitas are directly related to it, but but they have bits of a knowledge that was once here that was part of the Mahabharata texts, and the Mahabharata books are the closest we have to. We couldn't find anybody to come in and talk about those, but they're there. So this land has held the knowledge. It's the only land that talks about chakras on the whole planet, except for America, because it became cool from over here, that kind of thing. So try to enjoy the nuance too while you're here. Try to feel out the culture a little bit, because it is absolutely precious. There is a feminine stance in the general, particularly Hindu aspects of the culture that is really, really beautiful, and there's a grace that these people carry themselves with. That, I mean, and again, not everybody does, just like, not all, Americans do a certain thing or whatever, but there's a predominant feeling of a very interesting androgynous feminine grace. That means it could be embodied by a male or a female, and it is not emasculate or anything. It's just a beauty and a grace in being. It comes through sometimes in the posture, in the movements, in the way they carry themselves, but in the gentleness of spirit and in service. When the people in service jobs, should I tell you, should I do that? England's a riot, because if you go to England for service, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but they're not known to be one of the most friendly, glad to serve you type people, because most of the people that are in service jobs in England don't want to be in service jobs in England. They're just looking at the whole thing and they're really not having a good time, right? But here, I'm sure these guys aren't having a good time with, they'd probably rather have jobs that were, bigger and paid a lot more and those kind of things. But there's a peace and a graciousness, almost a self-respect, that they will serve you well and with respect. And there's just a beauty in that. It's a beauty in giving first, in forgiving, giving first. So if you could appreciate some of the beauty that's there. It really is. This is similar to how the Iani races are and the Adonai races are. There's a grace in being and a gentleness and an allowance, almost to a fault sometimes. That, okay, you're putting one over on me, and you really think you need to do that, and okay, and well, I could perceive you as hurting me, or I could perceive you as not. So I guess I'll just not interfere with what you're doing, and I guess I can deal with this. I mean, to almost to a fault. The Iani are a little bit tougher, saying, "Where's that tough love? I'll do it if I have to." But there's a grace here, and I hope you can feel that and experience that. Whatever your ideas about India or the people that are from here, and I don't like to just say Indians, because there's lots of different people that are in India. If you can just try to move any ideas that you might have of who they are, what they're like, and that kind of thing, over to the side and just experience them. There's a real beauty of communion there, and they recognize it. If you carry with you just, hello, I love you, I love your people, I love your land, whatever you're attached to is not my problem and not my business, but just send that. They respond like nobody I have ever seen. They feel it, and they know you are acknowledging their grace and being, and they will do it right back to you. So you can really have a beautiful experience with the people here, and I hope that you enjoy that. I mean, I hope you enjoy the sights too, and those kind of things, but it's the people that make this place precious, and the grids under the buildings, more so than just the buildings. So I'm going to say goodnight. I'm going to shut up now. I can keep going on and on, you know what I mean? Especially when I'm tired and have been doing a lot of transmission. That's when you just turn me on, and it's like I'm a wind-up doll. So I will say good night again and see you tomorrow, hopefully with some charts and graphs. Oh, I don't know if anybody has breathing problems out there, but Delhi is difficult. It's a lovely city. It doesn't even smell bad. It has an interesting burny smell, I noticed. I liked it because it reminded me of fireplaces. Yeah. Well, this is just kind of like a be careful if you have asthma. Be careful if you have asthma warning. Okay? If you haven't noticed already, I came back with raw lungs and not even realizing it did it until I got back. And it was like my lungs felt like they were seizing.
In a second then, I'll count you in on the dial-up technique as we prepare the first technique in the set for the India workshop, which will be the Star Rider Flame Runner Flame Line activation technique, which is based on the Polarian Trinity Braid technique that we used December 21, but they have now given us an up-to-date command line. So the technique is fundamentally the same as the December 21 version, but the command line is quite different from the one we used. And that's keyed, obviously, to the desired result of this technique. So then if you're all comfortable, ready to go, has he got a quick question? Does he need to talk to me before he carries on? Well, quickly then, because we haven't begun this. I'm sorry, just this way it'll avoid less hold up later. What you need to do now is you've got to get rid of, you brought this to this position, right? What you need to do now is to get rid of that inside of there with white out. I mean, if you had a scalpel, you could cut it out, but you don't have one. You just got to remove this code. You've got to take it away from there. Right? From the first one. Yeah. So then make a master, so you see a white hole in there. Right? Once you've got to that point, what you then have to do is copy it. Option. Okay, on the 1, 2, 3 then, do the dial up. 1, 2, 3. In the name of the Melchizedek cloister, Emerald Order, Holy Order of the Unicide, Sacred House of One, Ma'a Uita, Protectors, in Ebukai and Ibli by Vectai, Ma'a by Vectai, Unure Ona, Ista Anta Isa Trajda Era, Batate Uma, Ashelanta Asia Enta Doe, Shaddai Rea Kumtan Akumtan, Shaddai Rea Kumtan Akumtan, Shaddai Rea Kumtan. Ma'uete, Ma'uete, Un Isa Eshado, Ma'uete, Un Isa Eshado, Le'eture Ithwa Dueta Niwa, Le'eture Ithwa Dueta Niwa. I am the Adondra 360. Adondra Iesta Uchiwa Adonai. Ta'eja Intadore. Okay. Now take 3 inhale, pause, exhale, 48 petal lotus Ra center breaths. Immediately followed by 3 inhale, pause, exhale, lotus double arc ethos pillar as array breaths. So first a set of 3 from the Ra center, 48 petal lotus breaths. And then a set of 3 inhale, pause, exhale, lotus double arc ethos pillar as array breaths. Next, inhale a 48 petal breath at the Iumbi point, just below the navel, and hold the breath at the Iumbi for as long as is comfortable. While you're holding that, I'll explain what we're doing on the exhale. Don't let go yet. On the exhale breath, forcefully project a 48-point emerald green spark from the EMB downward into the Mahadra point at Earth core, and imagine or intend that a mini-me version of yourself, colored pale emerald green, rise with this emerald spark into Earth core. So when you're ready, exhale from the EMB down to the Mahadra point at Earth core, projecting a mini-me as a colored pale emerald green person. Down with the spark to Earth core. Return to usual breathing rhythm, while imagining that your mini-me emerald self joins a huge circle of guardian beings called the Akusha Te Circle of Elders that are gathered at Earth core for this activation. Now concentrate in the meantime as much as of your mental and emotional attention as you can muster into your emerald mini-me as it, you, stands and holds position within the circle of elders at Earth core. And bring this imagery, this sense of being right there, right now, as much into your reality as possible. And at the same time, notice that the circle of elders are now silently breathing naturally in absolute stillness and silence as they concentrate their mental and emotional attention upon a small basketball-sized ball of oscillating, heliotalic, pale golden silver pastel energy light that hovers about 3 inches above the ground at the center point of the circle of elders. You join the Akusha Te elders in this endeavor of divine silent focus, clearing your mind of all thoughts as your emerald mini-me gazes calmly and peacefully at the beautiful pastel hues oscillating through the heliotalic ball. We'll spend a minute or two with you in this focus. Continue to gaze at the heliotalic ball within the center point of the circle of Akusha Te elders. Build your focus on the basketball-sized ball of oscillating heliotalic, pale golden silver pastel energy, hovering about 3 inches above the ground. Notice that as you gaze at the heliotalic ball within the circle of the Akusha Te elders, that a low, steady, felt but not heard rumbling begins to emerge from within the center of the heliotalic ball. This rumbling grows slowly in intensity. And as the rumbling continues to grow, observe that the circle of elders and your emerald mini-me all join hands and begin to sway gently forward and backward as they stand silently within their position in the circle. Feel within your physical earth body, the you here now in this room, the gentle, synchronized swaying movement of the circle of elders, as they and your emerald mini-me together generate a silken, flowing carrier wave of heliotalic frequency through the swaying motion of their bodies. Allow your own physical body to respond to the swaying motion if you feel comfortable in doing that. Allow yourself to feel the gentle swaying of this heliotalic carrier wave as it travels from the body of your emerald mini-me in earth core upward through your central vertical current and into your physical body, where the swaying motion and the heliotalic carrier wave come to rest within your Iombi point. Continue to sense the gentle swaying motion within your Iombi and allow this swaying rhythm to spread outward through your physical body in all directions. Now causing your physical body to gently sway forward and backward in a gentle rocking motion. Allow the rocking motion to move your body from the Iombi, not the shoulders. Feel the rocking motion moving through the Iombi and allow the motion to express from just above the hips. Just a gentle, slightly exaggerated vibration of swaying, moving from the Iombi all through your body in all directions. Now in a moment I'm going to ask you to synchronize the rhythm of sway between what should be your physical body rocking motion and your mini-me. Continue to focus on the motion of your mini-me and the elders swaying, drawing the heliotalic frequencies up through the central vertical current into your Iombi. Allow yourself to feel it happening. Allow the properties of that centering at the Iombi to radiate throughout your body, causing you to mirror the gentle rocking motion of your mini-me and the Akushate Council of Elders at Earth Core. Just allow your body to sway gently. Just move. Allow it to move. As your physical and emerald mini-me bodies both sway together in time, move your mental attention to the center of the heliotalic ball within the center of the circle of elders at Earth Core. In a moment we're going to take one long, slow, deep inhale simultaneously from the Azure points of both your physical body and the emerald mini-me body. You will use this slow inhale breath to draw a beautiful golden silver one thread of heliotalic light from the heliotalic ball in Earth Core into the Azure point of your emerald mini-me, and you will continue with this long, slow, deep inhale breath, using it to draw this heliotalic thread upward from your emerald mini-me, Azure, through your central vertical current and into your physical Azure point and seed atom. Once you've drawn the full extent of your inhale, you will pause. So, when you're ready, take a long, slow, deep inhale, using this breath to draw a beautiful golden silver one thread of heliotalic light from the heliotalic ball in Earth Core, first into the Azure point of your emerald mini-me. Continue with this single breath, drawing the thread on from the Azure point of your mini-me, up your central vertical current and into your own Azure point and seed atom in your physical body. When you've done that, please pause. Hold the heliotalic thread within the physical body at the Azure and seed atom, and mentally prepare for the great exhale and for use of the activation command. Exhale from the Azure very slowly and deeply, while verbally using this one exhale breath as the living carrier wave on which the following tonal command will be uttered only once. Adondra, Itam, Ushta, Avre, Umbra, Estone. I'll say it with you. On the out breath, let it go. Adondra, Itam, Ushta, Avre, Umbra, Estone. Observe as the central vertical currents and staff lines of your emerald mini-me and your physical body both expand, forming a singular, long, 3 to 4 inch diameter tube of pale gold and silver one mixed with pale aquamarine Adondra blue light. And observe that within this living tube of light there exists a beautiful 3-strand braid of pale emerald green, pale violet, and pale gold and silver one light. Your Star Rider Flame Runner flame line is now activated. Just breathe easy, just relax. And when you feel ready, bring your attention back fully into your physical body and into the room. Now please remain seated whilst I locate the materials we need for the next technique. Hopefully, it won't be long. People at the back. I can't get the thing any higher. All right. Can I what? Sure, but you're going to distort your perception of the codes, unless you can turn your head sideways by 90 degrees and look at it right. You won't get the relationship with the codes that you need to get. So, if you have to stand up, I'm sorry, but let's do it that way. Now, what you're looking at are all Rama keys. The top pair, look at them and think of them as 1A and B. They are the Adondra flame line keys, the top row, the two at the top. The two below, 2A and 2B, are Rama passage security seal release keys. And the pair at the bottom, the third pair in other words, are rod of Rama keys. Pardon me?
Say that one again, please.
All of them?
The last.
Just the last one. Rod of Rama keys. All right. Now, well done. Wonderful timing, Halden. Thanks for getting this done too. Good job. Now, Halden is distributing copies, hard copies of these, and we're going to do the induction of the codes. But before you can do it off paper, actually, come to think of it, but it might be better if you focus on the larger images at the front. I think that you probably get a better quality relationship in the feeling sense by looking at a brightly lit image at the front rather than a dimly lit one on your lap. And all I want you to do now, just take a couple of minutes to do this, or as long as it's necessary, but it can be quite quick. I want you to focus on each pair working from the top down. All right, try to look only at the top pair. And allow yourself to feel a differential frequency coming from the one on the left or the right. This isn't a case of right or wrong. This is a case of you allowing yourself to feel the frequency resonance of each of the keys expressed in terms of electrical or magnetic. And don't think that because you're a girl or a boy, you're predisposed to girl or a boy, magnetic or electrical. Because that isn't the case. And you'd be allowing your brain to play games with you if you do that. So just wipe that, doesn't matter, look at the codes, respond to the codes, and choose one of each pair. So work down the screen. When you're done, make a note on your paper if you can, or just remember, all right, until finally you're left with your own personal combination, which could be 1A, 2B, and 3B, or it could be 1A, 2A, 3A. It doesn't matter, but get to the point where you've chosen one of a pair. All right? Now you need to remember that because we will eventually get mylars of these copied so that you will take from the mylar sheets the 3 codes you've chosen and you will superimpose them on the manifestation wheel and create a very special and powerful code that we're working in the field in a couple of days' time. So for now, just do this part, then we'll do the induction of the codes, and then we'll break for dinner.
We wouldn't want to mark on this code.
Pardon?
We wouldn't want to mark on this code, would we? Like put a mark like this and this and this one. Like we wouldn't want to mark on it.
On the paper.
You
On
would
the
want
paper.
to put additional marks on the actual code now. Now, but in the corner, the squares are sort of marked in pencil, so just in the corner you can put a little dot or a cross or something. That'll be all right. The rod of Rama. Rod of Rama. The word keys goes with all of them. They're all keys. So everyone finished? Anybody need a little more time?
How do you spell the first one? You said Adondra?
Adondra. Are we all ready? Okay. There's a peculiar stage here. Now, this technique that I've just roughed out will require you to have both fingertips in contact with both of the keys, each of 3. Now, you may wonder why. I asked why. Basically, even though you've just chosen one key out of the set per pair, right? For purposes of group shield co-resonance, even if you haven't chosen one of the keys, right? The fact that you actually induce it into your own shield, even though you're not going to utilize it in a high-frequency way, because it's not a primary key, right? It will actually enable the greater key out of the group shield to form in a very rapid and harmonious way. So if it seems strange that you've just chosen one and now you're about to induce both, the reason, or the answer to the question I just asked about, was to do with integration of the greater key represented by this group shield, right, which we'll be working at the TASH. So that's why. Alrighty, now it's a fairly straightforward thing. What's going to happen is we're going to work with 48-point lotus Ra breaths, mainly, apart from the opening breaths, which are the same as the ones we've just done. we're going to use the breath to build charge. We're going to activate the lotus flames in the fingertips. We're going to bring our fingers into this lotus fingertip position, and we will put the hands down just as you're looking at the paper left and right. All right? You will actually pick the codes up, and then you'll be directed. We're going to actually take the Adondra code, and we're going to bring that into the Iombi. We'll breathe it down to the earth core, back up to chakra 14, and come back again. Then we pick up the second pair. We'll actually induce those in the Ra center. And thirdly and finally, the rod keys we'll bring into the Azure. Okay, so I'll direct you through it. But that's the essence of what we're going to do. All right? Pretty simple and repetitive. Each of the three stages will be the same, working different parts of the anatomy. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you'll bring both sets of fingers up. When you pick up, you'll bring both the right and the left hand fingers into the position I'm directing you to go to with the code, all right? All righty. So as we did in the last technique, just begin again with 3 sets of 48-point lotus Ra breaths, and follow that with 3 sets of lotus double arc breaths. Now I'll just explain the next steps. Very simple. We'll now be using 48-point breaths all the way through. And in a moment, I'll ask you to inhale to build charge at the Azure. So you'll be holding that breath for as long as it's comfortable. Then you'll exhale. On the exhale, you will activate the lotus flames in the fingertips. Okay? And having exhaled, you will just breathe normally for a brief moment or two, and then you bring your fingertips into contact with the first pair of codes, which are the top pair on the screen, the Adondra flame line keys. And then we'll use the breath to actually pick them up. So 48-point lotus inhale from the Azure, hold and build charge at the Azure. Build charge, set your intention to activate the lotus flames at the fingertips. And when you're ready, exhale forcefully from the Azure, down the arms and into the fingertips. Bring your fingers into the lotus touch position. So, just relax and breathe easy for a moment or two, and bring your fingertips held in the lotus touch position into the center of the first pair of codes, the top pair. Okay, just breathe easy while we're doing this. Get comfortable. All right. Now, you're not going to move yet. I just want you to inhale. Inhale from the center of the codes, from the lotus point fingertip contact position. Don't draw the breath into the Azure or anything. Just inhale from the fingertips. Okay. And then from the fingertips, breathe back into the code. All right. Now, inhale. And as you inhale, remove the fingertips from the code. Hold the breath. Move the fingertips, both of them, to the Iombi and make physical contact with the Iombi point. And exhale into the Iombi forcefully. Consciously impressing the codes into the Iombi. Now quickly, I want you to inhale and exhale. Inhale at the Iombi and exhale down to earth core. Very rapidly inhale from earth core up to chakra 14. And from chakra 14, exhale back into the Iombi. Remove your fingers from the Iombi point. Hold them in the lotus touch finger position. Just breathe easy for a moment or two. Just relax for a minute or two. And then a 48-point inhale breath. Hold it at the Azure again. Okay. Exhale from the Azure down the arms into the fingertips to renew the charge. Just breathe easy as you bring the fingertips into the middle pair of codes. Put your fingertips into the center of the codes again. Okay. Once more, we'll inhale deeply and exhale into the codes through the fingertips. Inhale and exhale through the fingertips. And then inhale again. Pick up the code, hold the breath, and move the fingertips to the Ra center, making physical contact with the Ra center. Exhale forcefully into the Ra, transferring the code into the Ra center. Inhale immediately from the Ra center and exhale from the Ra to earth core. Rapidly inhale from earth core all the way up to chakra 14 and immediately exhale back into the Ra center. Breathe easy. Relax, remove the fingers from the Ra center. Just breathe easy for a moment. Keep your fingertips in the lotus position. Once more, final round. 48-point inhale breath from the Azure. Hold to build charge. Exhale forcefully from the Azure down the arms to renew the charge in the fingertips. Just breathe easy for a moment. Bring your fingertips into contact with the lowest pair of codes, the Rod of Ra codes at the bottom of the paper. Okay. Once more, inhale with your fingers in contact with the code. Exhale into the code. Inhale and pick up the code and hold the breath. Bring your fingertips to the Azure. Exhale forcefully into the Azure. Inhale once more at the Azure and exhale to earth core. Rapidly inhale from earth core up to chakra 14 and rapidly exhale forcefully into the Azure. And the final 48-point breath, you can remove your fingers from the Azure and relax your hands. But with your attention firmly focused on the Azure, take a 48-point inhale breath at the Azure. Exhale the breath forcefully down to earth core. The minute the breath hits earth core, rapid inhale back up to chakra 14, all the way up. And finally exhale into the Azure and relax. Okie dokes. Good job. All right, we're all finished for this particular session. You can take a break just to refuel. And how long what's the consensus on how long you need for this? It's sort of a buffet supper over there. Would an hour be sufficient? All right. If I'm, what's it now? Is it 6:30 local time? Roughly? Okay. So that means 7:30 we'll definitely be cranking up and going again then, eh? Okay. Well, we'll see you then.